Anyways, back to the show, people. One crash later, boy, we're just having no no fun today at all. Okay. This is just an interesting little tidbit. We're Linux people. I can't decide whether or not I like the idea of Chrome OS, or rather, I think it's the most insidious, evil, fucked up thing I've ever heard of.
One or the other.
Well, it's on the one hand, I'm a little annoyed that Google's coming in and claiming Linux and taking Linux and rebranding it as its own. But on the other hand, they're not locked up. When a lot of companies come in and do that, they take Linux and they put it in a barbed wire closed proprietary thing. They say, "Oh, we invented this thing called Linux, and we're greatly abusing the general use license to say that." Because we slapped our own little twist on it, and Google didn't do that with Android. Now the Android tree is Google's, but they haven't locked down the Linux core on which it's based. It's still open. It's still there's a fork in the road, but it's not. And I don't know if Chrome's going to do it. I can't decide on Chrome. I have to see it. I have to play with it a lot more than I have. But anyways, one of the interesting little stories on Chrome is that supposedly it's supposed to be the ultimate legacy OS due to Google's resources. I'm just wondering what y'all think about that.
Well, about Chrome OS in general, I like the idea of it, but I don't think that the world's really ready.
Well, I would have argued a few years ago the world wasn't ready for Android, but honestly, it's going to depend how they implement it. If they implement it with the power that Linux is capable of, and they get a good OEM base behind it, I think the world will try it out just to try it out. If, on the other hand, they try and make a grandma-proof machine, and depending on how the cloud stuff's implemented, it could give Linux a horrible bad black eye. It just depends. Leo, you look like you're trying to figure out what your opinion is on this particular topic.
Just the whole idea of having all of your settings and files in the cloud is actually appealing to a lot of people. I've described Chrome OS to some people and said that that's what they were trying to do. And they sounded very impressed with the idea, even though I thought it was just, that's how it works. But I see it as being more successful as a kiosk operating system, like in a situation where you have to hop from computer to computer, like say a computer lab or whatever. So
like replacing the terminals in colleges that are linked to the master server and boot from the server, instead they'll boot from Google.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, well, it's like, it should be noted that it's cloud computing is 101 in open stuff. Like, it's James didn't realize this. I think it was you I was talking with the other day about, like, an open office. You can open files directly from Google Docs and save them up to, and vice versa. And it's one of those little features that, unless you're a power user and get in there and install that plugin and realize it's there, I would see in Chrome OS all that stuff being configured right for the end user. And if they add this legacy stuff on, it would be good for businesses, because I know a lot of businesses that they're stuck in that hard place between, I have $10,000 worth of equipment that will not work with Windows 7, and all the new versions of my software I use with that equipment will not work in XP. What OS do I use? And one of the features, and granted, no Linux distro could afford to do this, but Google could, that Chrome OS is supposed to have, is basically VNC virtual machines for popular OSs going back. So if you need to emulate or run anything, you're not running a virtual machine. You're actually running via a cloud service that machine, and you don't have to buy a Windows XP license, a Windows 7 license, an OS 10 license. Whether or not they're going to be able to do it with OS 10 or not is going to depend a lot on Apple. But and whether or not Apple considers Google a big bad threat they need to crush.
They kind of do.
Yeah, but in all the others, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Now, what Google's going to charge for that service, who knows? Because some of their enterprise services like this aren't free, like Google Docs and Gmail and stuff is. It's an interesting little footnote until Chrome OS ships and that service is actually officially announced in the next year or three. It's anyone's guess whether or not it's really going to be something people are going to want to use or not. On the note of operating system developments, what do y'all think about the rumor that Windows 8 may have an app store?
Potentially scary, potentially awesome.
I look at this a lot like there's a little known feature. I can't remember if it came out in Windows Vista or Windows 7 first. But there's a part of Windows now that is designed to organize games. Basically, it's a Microsoft version of Steam. And I just look at this App Store idea, and I'm like, you know, the number of people I see actually participating in this is the number of people which bother to have their application officially Microsoft certified. Because... And I don't see that happening. Do you think they'll be able to convince everyone that they should pay Microsoft the money to get their apps certified so it'll wind up in the IE8 store or, in the Windows 8 store? Sorry. Go ahead.
Who says they're going to do that?
Well, I guess if they drop that, that's one thing. If it's free with no process to get it in there, and that poses another problem.
Well, it might be just the amount it takes them for them to check it or something. It doesn't have to be a lot, and then I think people would do it.
The amount to get your app officially certified for Windows isn't a lot. I don't know any developers that really pay that. And it's not like they're fly-by-night companies. I mean, these are major companies. ULEAD Systems, Nero, Adobe. None of these companies pay to get their app Microsoft certified. And when the little warning comes up, it's like installing an un-Windows trusted application can do. It's like, does anybody pay attention to that? Or does everyone pretty much just go, shut up, Microsoft? I'm just saying.
Yeah, nobody reads the EULA.
Well, I could see if it winds up being like the Android marketplace or the iPhone marketplace or the Linux package manager. I could see that. But this is Microsoft we're talking about. Whether you love or hate them, do you really see Microsoft realizing that that's what it needs to be? Or do you see them seeing it as, this is a way for us to get a supplemental source of money and charge developers a $20 to $30 fee we're not charging them now?
Well, one thing I see about Microsoft is that when they really think that they need to look good and, do stuff, like supporting HTML5 fully, even though they might not want to, and supporting standards.
Okay, you gotta stop for a second.